Hey guys, welcome back to another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at the Sofirn SC31T, and it's been a while since I've reviewed a Sofirn flashlight, but this one really caught my eye. And since I know a lot of you are out there looking for a good value flashlight, especially a good value tactical flashlight, I thought I'll do this video. And the Wurkkos FC12, that's been my top choice obviously for a budget flashlight, budget tactical flashlight. It's one that I've recommended for a while, but I think the Sofirn SC31T has some unique differences, and that makes it worthwhile considering and even perhaps a better option for some of you. So here is the Sofirn SC31T compared to a few other similar size flashlights. Got the Convoy S2 Plus here on the right. It's almost the same size as the S2 Plus. Got the Wurkkos FC12, and it is shorter than the FC12 due to the shallower reflector in there. And you've also got here the Sofirn SC31 Pro, one of the first flashlights that I got. And this is the SC31T right next to the SC31 Pro, and they're almost the same size. Obviously with that tactical tail switch, you can have a little bit extra length on there. So here's a close-up of the Sofirn SC31T. And it looks pretty similar to my SC31 Pro. For those of you who've maybe watched that review, it's one of my favorite angular flashlights. It has some impressive sustained performance as well in turbo. You've got the classic Sofirn anodizing, shiny, slightly slippery finish, but you do have this grippy knurling on here as well. I think the machining is excellent for the price range, and there's no nicks and burrs. Generally great quality finish. Can't fault it. You've got these little anti-roll cutouts on the head. A little bit of these cutouts for heat dissipation as well. And knurling on the tail cap. USB-C charging port. Okay, with the rubber gasket. Pretty firm. I'm going to press that back in. You can't get into the bezel of the flashlight. Okay, but let's have a look down there. You've got an SST40 with a smooth reflector. Okay, that's really going to increase the throw, that reflector in there. Got a glass lens as well on the front. Nothing really special with the bezel. It's just smooth and kind of joins onto the rest of the body. The head just around the switch is a little bit wider. You also can't unscrew the head. You're probably going to need some type of you're going to need something grippy to unscrew it, or some type of wrench. This is the tail switch. You got a location there to thread the lanyard in if you want it. The switch feels nice and firm, not squishy at all. Very easy to activate that momentary mode on there. I'm so impressed at how Sofirn have managed to keep the size of this light down, especially the length of the light, considering it is a tactical flashlight. Okay, so I'm going to go through the UI, just show you how this light works. Now, I've got it at the moment on the stepped mode, so you get 4 steps plus turbo. So basically, you just click once to cycle through 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and double press at any moment, any mode to access turbo. Okay, light will not remember turbo in the stepped mode ramping. You can only get it to remember turbo in the smooth mode, so smooth ramping. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But basically, you can also triple press to access strobe as well. To switch into the smooth mode, just press 4 times while the light is on. Okay, and you basically just click and hold to go up and down. When the light reaches the bottom or top of the ramp, it will make a flash. Okay, so that's in the top mode, the turbo mode. And this is where you can just leave it in that mode and it memorizes turbo. And I've seen a few people say that the light doesn't memorize turbo, but it actually does. And I've tested the lux readings as well, and it's pretty much the same It is definitely turbo. So yeah, but obviously that's the only way that you can get it to memorize that turbo. If you want to also go down to a lower mode or get it to memorize a lower mode, you're just going to have to reduce it down like that. So there's no shortcut to Moonlight. This side switch also does not work unless you have the tail switch activated. Okay, so I think that's a good thing because I don't want this light to accidentally turn on in my pocket. I think, for more serious tactical lights, I prefer that function. Just have that tail switch on the back and basically be the master control switch. Okay, so I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests, and this is the first one on turbo, and you can see here the light starts off at 100%, slowly starts to step down to about 90%, but that's about 2 minutes of runtime on turbo, roughly between 90 to 100% before it actually steps down. I think that's really impressive. For a little light like this, you wouldn't expect for it to be able to last so long, to have that sustained output on turbo. And as it steps down, it goes all the way down to about 20% at the 2.5 minute mark, and basically just holds there. I had some interesting sort of jumps. So at 5 minutes, it went up and down and then up and down again after that, but pretty much stayed at the 20% mark after until 20 minutes. Activated turbo again after 20 minutes, and it just spikes, comes down immediately. So there is some temperature control unit in there, which is good. It's not just a timer. Here's another ceiling bounce test that I ran on the 4th step mode. So basically the mode before turbo. Lasts on 100% for over 8 minutes, nearly 9 minutes. Really impressive before it steps down to about 40%. Interesting thing though, again, you have this sort of up and down pattern where the light just ramps up and down just depending on the temperature of the light. And interestingly, the peaks start to come down as the test continues. I think just because the light is warming up. I ran a bunch of tests also on my Opal Lightmaster Pro, and you can see here in turbo, managed to get 242 meters of throw. Super impressive for a little flashlight like this. And you've got color rendering index 64.8, pretty average there. This light is designed more for visibility rather than color recognition. CCT ranged between 5,700 to 5,800. It was pretty consistent, but definitely a little more on the cooler end. I really like the beam of this flashlight. It's quite a practical beam, and if you compare it to the Wurkkos FC12, the FC12 has better throw, but there's not much spill in there, and there's a very kind of ringy sort of beam. But this one is surprisingly throwy. I mean, being able to throw over 250 meters, especially with such a large hotspot, tons of spill as well. This is definitely, I'd say, more of a practical option if you want for just overall wider range of visibility. Some considerations: turbo, like I said before, can only be memorized through the method I explained. So basically just putting it onto this smooth ramp it all the way up to the top until it blinks, turn it off, and there you have it. But I think that it's great that you can even do that on this light. Some lights that claim to be tactile flashlights, they don't memorize turbo. There's also no shortcut to Moonlight mode, so something to keep in mind. It would have been nice to be able to just click and hold or something like that to get into a Moonlight mode. Third consideration is that I wish this light came with an option to have an SFT40 in there. Just throws a bit further. I think that you'd still get a decent amount of spill with the SFT40, but obviously more heat, and that's a personal preference between throw and spill. A fourth consideration, it's more just of a note that this light has an FET driver, so it's not going to have a proper regulated output like some other more expensive tactile flashlights out there. So you're going to be able to use as well a high drain cell plus a spring bypass if you want to push out extra lumens from this flashlight. I have a Samsung 30Q lying around somewhere, and I'm sure if I put it in this flashlight, it's going to produce some extra output and throw. Overall, I think it's just amazing how far these so-called budget flashlights have come. I mean, this is a fully fledged, in my opinion, fully fledged tactical flashlight. And, 10 years ago, a light with these specs would cost a few $100s at least, would be 10 times the size. So this is very impressive I mean, pocket friendly. It's a tactile flashlight. I recommend it to you if you're looking for really one of the best bang for buck deals out there on a tactical light. So I've left a link in the description. You can check that out if you want to get one. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and click the like button. It helps me to get this review out to more people. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews, make sure you subscribe. Sofirn SC31T, and this is on turbo. Really nice, soft, round hotspot. Pretty large hotspot, especially because we've got a SST40 in there. I think I just saw a mouse run across in front of me before. That's great. And I really like this beam because you got so much spill. The beam is a little bit, can't really see it on camera, but in the edges there's a little bit of ringiness, but in the actual central part of the beam where you've got most of the flood, definitely looking good. Very smooth. I mean, the hotspot does definitely stand out in the center, but the spill is really nice and bright as well. You see that it hit the trees at the back as well quite easily. I'm sure it's probably starting to ramp down soon, but can't notice it ramp down too much. It's about 11 degrees Celsius here in Melbourne. If I turn it off, turn it back on again, yeah, it has stepped down a little bit, but I mean, look at that. Maybe one of the best value tactical lights that I own. You can half press it, get that momentary half press mode. Look at that. I'll switch it over to the stepped mode, step ramping mode, but I'll just show you what the smooth ramping mode looks like. Flashes at the top, okay. The FET driver kicks in. Okay, just put it onto the step mode. So that's the first step. Oops. Second step. Third step. Okay. And this one's more sustainable. Second and third step. I mean, considering how small this light is, this is really impressive. You normally don't expect a SST40 light to really throw this far. And there you go, double press for turbo. But otherwise, you're just cycling through the three modes. One, oops, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Must have skipped the first mode before because it was just so dim. And double press for turbo. Quite a big difference between the fourth step and the turbo mode, as you can see. Okay. So that's turbo, and then you press again and you get back to the fourth step. Still kind of tinting the trees out the back. So you can really just walk around with you know, even the third step, fourth step, and then whenever you need it, double tap, blast that turbo out. Okay, no issues, single click. So I really like the UI on this. You can alternate between that previous mode that the light has remembered. This is the SC31T, just a little bit up close on this trail.